Okay, we're gonna finish this up. I was just looking back up at my top part, make sure it's in view. Yeah, so I'm gonna come up and do a little touch up here because I don't feel like it's completely resolved. I'm missing a stem up there. So I'm gonna start by doing a glaze of orange, pyrrole orange, right in this space, toward the back really. I'm gonna leave it pink toward the left. So I dropped in orange toward the back side of that little rectangle shape, and then I'm gonna put just plain water toward the front, and I'm gonna scoot that back so that we get that nice shine while it's wet. All right, the other area that's not resolved is we did the swoop, but we didn't do the top of that cherry, so I'm gonna go with some pyrrole red above this swoop. And put the top of that cherry in, which is sitting right at the top of the water line, you know, the juice line. I was so impressed with everybody's cherries today. Very good work. I even had someone send their finished cherries. All right, now that I put that little red up there, I'm gonna put a little Bordeaux because it's darker. All right, I'm gonna let that dry, and then there's a couple little stems we'll come back in and add just a few little touches. So that's all you need to be doing is going around and looking and seeing like here is too pink, it needs some more orange. You gotta do value checks and say, okay, where, I'm gonna add a little pink on top of that. I'm adjusting back and forth because I want my glowy areas to all kind of match. All right, now we're gonna come down here and we're gonna lay in some cherry shapes. These are in shadow again, but they have some bright spots around some of the edges. So I'm going to start with pyrrole orange because if they have brightness around the edges and they're not, you know, like the glow coming from that backlit portion, then we'll start with orange. So we'll put this in right above. It goes all the way to that. We already did the juice around it, the space around it. So we've really been, not, you know, this is a value study, but it's also a positive negative space study. We are now painting positive space. We painted negative shapes around positive shapes. So we really have been looking at all of it, positive and negative shapes. Negative are the shapes around, you know, like what you see around a space, and then the positive is the actual shape. Have you ever done that? When I was in college, you did negative drawings, negative space drawings, so you drew everything around a shape. It's just kind of a way to make your brain think of things a little differently. Okay, so there's our orange. I'm gonna go with pyrrole red on top. Now we're gonna drop that pyrrole red. I'm gonna start at the bottom in the middle because it's darker down here and that lightness is around the edge. So I'm gonna come around the edges, leaving, you know, a little glow. Really looking at my reference photo to see how the shapes are. Leaving a little glow there. Keep it round. I was kind of going straight up and down. We need to keep it round. I'm gonna drop a little more in. Okay, so we have that middle shape. So now we've got the light, that brightness around the edges with our orange. Now we've got the pyrrole red in the middle with our medium value. Now we're gonna go in with the Bordeaux for our dark value. And it's kind of in the middle. It gets bright around the edges. So I'm gonna try to keep this darkness kind of up the center and keep, you know, some orange and red brightness going. These lights is causing a big glare here. I have like 3 different lights. They're daylight lights. I have 3 of them. All right, I'm gonna make sure we round this up. I'm used to painting at night, especially for classes, because I was on the other side of the world for such a long time in Japan. Now, it was nice when I was doing your class, I had daylight, a little better lighting. Okay, remember we can push back if we start to have some furry edges and too much red pushing into our highlight. We can push back with some orange. I put some Pyro Orange around the edge to push that back. Okay, I want to make sure I have this. I'm getting a little Pyro Red. I want to make sure this is reading round. So I'm going to get my brush strokes going in a round way. I really do think the brush strokes matter. I'm going to drop a little more Bordeaux. That red kind of touches up here. We were very close to finishing earlier. Hopefully we don't have much more than half an hour. And some Pyro Red and throw that in. And remember, we can get that orange and push back. Getting a lot of water now. If you get too much soupiness, it starts to bloom too much. So then we get our thirsty brush and we just come in and soak up a little of it with our thirsty brush. Okay, got that cherry in there. Now let's come over to, well, that's wet. We're gonna come over here and work this space. We did the center. We're gonna come and get this cherry in here. We went ahead and did the whole space. I'm gonna get some orange so we can kind of outline where our cherry is. I'm gonna draw it in. Got the edge of that cherry right there. We're doing this with our Pyro Orange, and we're going right on top of what we did earlier. And that cherry comes back behind the stem here. Orange on this cherry, so I'm gonna go wipe it up with Thirsty Brush. Clean up, clean up, clean up. All right, we got that orange in there. We're gonna get a little Pyro Red. You can go right over that stem if you want to, but I'm just trying to keep the shape there so you can see where I am. Okay, I'm gonna get a little opera pink over that orange because my orange is kind of sticking out there. You still want to be able to see it, you know, differentiate it from the background, but I want that glow to be a little pinker. All right, now we need to drop some Bordeaux. So same process, Bordeaux, you know, orange, pyrrole red, so pyrrole orange, pyrrole red, Bordeaux, little opera pink. I hope this makes you feel like you can tackle any reds now. And you can play around with different color combinations and see if you can find one you like even better. But this glazing is key with red. I'm gonna do those pickles soon, and I have a feeling the glazing is gonna be key in that scenario too. Ugh, I had a lot of water in my brush. Don't wanna add a bunch of water. And this cherry touches this one. So I'm gonna pull my cherry up a little bit. Go over that stem a little. I just wanna pull that cherry up. I can get a little orange in there if I need to. I just did it with the pink, but I can get the orange and pull that cherry up with the orange. Then we're gonna add the pink on top, the opera pink, and glaze on top. Get that nice red in the middle. Let me get a little more Bordeaux down here. Okay, and then there's a little something, it's like a cherry back behind and some stems. So I'm gonna do it with orange first so we can map our shape out. I always start with that lighter color. I'm gonna map, there's something going on right there, probably a stem or something. We're gonna come all the way up. And it's okay that it blends in with this cherry we just did because it really is kind of merging. See how that brightness is kind of merging with this shape? Clean up my edge here. Okay. All right, then I'm gonna get a little pyrrole red up along the side and in here. I'm gonna rinse my brush and I'm just gonna kind of blend that a little. We just want the hint of something going on, some other color differential. All right, we'll get a little tiny bit of Bordeaux. Put that Bordeaux up along the edge because it's like, I think that's a stem. I'm gonna put a little back in this cherry back here. And there's a stem coming down here. I might get a little Bordeaux or pyrrole red. Try to beef this up. Glaze one more time with the pyrrole red in here. Rinse my brush, and now I'm just gonna kind of blend. These kind of merge, but they have a little color difference. Okay, a little brightness down there. I'm gonna get a thirsty brush and just kind of blend. I just have water right now, and I'm just kind of making sure we don't have hard lines. We get hairy edges, go back in, clean them up. Maybe even more Bordeaux down here. Okay. Now, this cherry's dry enough around the edges, we can tackle this guy. So let's go in with our orange, our pyrrole orange. Map that shape out. I'm gonna go around the stem. We could go over it, but I like to keep shapes where they are. We're gonna go above that line we did. some orange in the space around the stem. I was just thinking, you know, after doing the big painting of cherries, this is still Pyro Orange, these were so much easier because I had the whole process down, you know, after working it on a large painting with 3 big cherry jars. So let's pull this orange all the way across. We're going to go down and all the way across. That's our Pyro Orange still. And we can come up and do this space up here while we have orange on our brush. Just get rid of the space. That's our Pyro Orange. And we'll come down below this line. Pyro Orange. Okay, and then we're going to glaze with our Pyro Red. We left that little sliver. I didn't go over it, so it should stop at that above the line and below it because we didn't put paint there. Let's see, what am I doing? I'm going into a space there. Around that space. Okay, and this is our Pyro Red. And this cherry is kind of interesting. He's got that bright sliver in the middle. And he kind of comes up above that line. Okay, so Pyro Red. Okay, let's get our Bordeaux. So I'm going round, making it a round cherry shape. Bordeaux below. Keep that Bordeaux going. So let's do a color value thing here and let's see. Get a little more Bordeaux. Okay, let's see, do we need a little more Bordeaux? Okay, Now, we had left that bright spot in there. I'm gonna go in with Opera Pink. I wanna unify these shapes a little bit, and it's gonna run in, but I want it fuzzed around the edge. So I'm gonna do that with my Opera Pink. Get in there. There's two ways we can make this bright. One is we're adding a layer of Opera Pink, which is gonna, liven it up. And two, if it's still dark and we want it brighter, we'll darken up the cherry around it. Because to make things bright, you have darker around. But I wanted that shape to blend a little. All right, and then over here we have the bottom of this cherry. I am gonna do that with my Pyrrole Red, because I'm pretty confident I can draw that in. There's that little line down there. And it kind of, I'm gonna add water and let it kind of, I'm gonna add a little Bordeaux right here at this very end. Okay, here's the bottom of that cherry. Now I got this space over here. So let's go in with orange, Pyrrole Orange. Oops. All right, okay, we gotta go back and babysit. I have hairy legs coming up here. Hairy paint. And clean that up with a thirsty brush. All right, let's come over here with our orange now. Okay, and then let's get Opera Pink. I'm just doing Opera Pink up in here. Just up at the top, because I want to liven. That's really bright and pretty. And then we're gonna do Pyrrole Red at the bottom of that cherry. And Pyrrole Red. Okay, so this red comes up the side of this jar. I'm gonna add hot pink, Opera Pink. Okay, I'm gonna get a little Bordeaux. I'm just kind of cleaning up this edge. There's a little dark edge to this side of the jar. All right. this one might need to get a little darker. Let's go in with Pyrrole Red first. Okay, and I'm gonna add some Bordeaux. I just didn't feel like I got that dark enough. Okay, we're gonna get this rounded. A little water. Unify these shapes. Get a little opera pink back here in that orange space. So now you're doing value checks. You're seeing if your cherries are dark enough. Where do you need more Bordeaux, you know, to darken things up? Where are you good? I have a little Bordeaux on my brush and I'm just going around. Things are still kind of damp in places, so I can add a little in. All right, and then this line, I'm gonna take a clean brush and I'm gonna get all the water out. And I wanna come through here and clean up this line. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come over here with Bordeaux and put the stem in. I'm gonna come up here. I missed a couple little stems. I'm gonna come put a little stem in here. Okay, so I just put my little stems in up there. When things dry down here, we can put stems in. I'm gonna go ahead and take the masking off. I think it's dry enough. We'll see, get around it. Here, I'm gonna push in. I don't want to, if it's wet, too wet, I'm trying to speed up a little bit. I don't condone pulling masking like that, but it's a little wet down here. In the interest of time. But when you pull masking like this, you run the risk of doing pulling your paper surface off. So I really highly suggest you have a rubber cement pickup like this and you use it when it's dry. Okay, so now we have the bottom. All right, we're gonna come. All right, this is pretty good. I'm gonna take a clean brush and I'm gonna just straighten up my line here. And that's why I like masking. If you have it in the right place, you know, yes, it leaves a little wiggle woggle, you know, little wobbliness to the line, but it's so easy to just smooth out sometimes just with the color of your pigment around it. I'm gonna get a Pyrrole Red this time and come up here, smooth this line out. I'm gonna get a little Pyrrole or Bordeaux. Put some Bordeaux right in here. We can do even darker. We can do our indigo sepia. It's that dark little line right there. I'm gonna get my indigo sepia. Okay, just a little line there. Now, it's pretty bright down there. I'd say we could do a little yellow, a little of our bismuth vanadate. I might put a little bismuth vanadate right here at the end of this white one, just to make that spot not so big. You could do a little bismuth vanadate up here. If it's too close to your Bordeaux and it's wet, and then wait a second, add a little yellow there. Okay, it's about all. We might thin this out a little bit. If your white speckles are too big, you can just kind of pull the color around it, or a little yellow on your brush. I'm gonna get a little pyrrole red, or maybe pyrrole orange. I'll get a little pyrrole orange. Pull a little red, so it makes it look red down there and bright. Pyrrole orange on this side. Okay. All right, so that is good down there. See, that was a pretty easy fix. If you get any of this, I have a little cloudiness because the bismuth vanadate was a little opaque. I'm gonna just take a clean brush and kind of feather that out. It just was a little cloudy paint sitting over the black, our indigo sepia. And so I'm just kind of doing that with my clean brush. Alrighty, so let's go check stems. I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna do a stem check. Stem. I just did my little stems. I got these guys in, I got that stem in. Here's this stem. I might work on this for a second here. Let's see. There's kind of I don't know what that little piece looks like. Almost looks something holding it. Okay. Okay, a little red. I'm gonna put a little Bordeaux at the bottom of that. Okay. Was just doing that stem check. Okay, we have a big stem over here. Things are a little wet. Let's see where else. We got a little stem here. I have Bordeaux on my brush. So I'm gonna come up behind here. And this stem kind of runs in to this red down here. So I'm gonna rinse my brush now that I put it in, and just with some water, I'm gonna pull and blend that. Okay, that just gets us that shape. All right, so this stem, we can start with Bordeaux. Normally I would do pyrrole red, but it's on some pretty dark areas. I'm gonna come in up here. Okay. I'm gonna come in with Bordeaux. Okay, that's our Bordeaux. And then we can come back in the little Carbazole Violet. Remember, we did the two colors, so it kind of floats, and we have some, you know, like the Bordeaux, see, you know, coming through, and then it's not one note. Okay, straighten it up a little bit. Okay, now I gotta look if we have any little dips. All right, pretty happy with that. You can recalibrate any areas that you feel need to be a little darker once we put that dark in. I feel like I'm pretty good. That one's pretty dark. It leads us up into this. I might add a little tiny bit into that one. These are some of those leading lines I was talking about. These stems are leading us. Remember, I said we have this triangle, and that's leading us, you know, it comes up and we come around and back in a circle. It's kind of leading us in that direction. All right, let's come over here with a little Bordeaux. Actually, we'll start with Pyrrole Red. figure out where our stem is. Okay, there's a little one here. I have a little white space left for it. It kind of comes up. And then there's a little one that comes around the side. Gets really thin around that cherry. And then it's got the little stem head. Gets thicker down here. Okay, once we get it laid in, we like the shape, we can get our Bordeaux. Drop a little Bordeaux. Okay. When I see that, I realize the Bordeaux over here on this side's got to get a little darker. Always doing value checks. Rinse. Okay. Pull that back into a cherry shape. Okay. All right, and we have one more stem over here. We're just about done. So I'm gonna come over here with Bordeaux. The little head of that. And it comes down under here. I'm gonna stop and get a little Pyro Red to do the back edge of that. I have too much water in my brush. Stem comes into here. I switched it up because it's lighter at the back end, so we can even drop some orange back here. Oh, it's gonna pull from the dark over here. Okay. Okay. All right. Got a little Pyro Red. All right, so then you just come and do checks, like I think around the edge of this. Cleaning up the edge of that jar. All right, let me zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Make sure you send me pictures. I'll just take my camera down and